Hey, everybody. Welcome back. It's Sunday, July 31st, 2022. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner, Reiki master, empowerment coach, and intuitive astrologer. And I'm here today to do this week's forecast for y'all, the ANGELSCOPEs, the angels' advice for dealing with these transits. Hi, Joe. Hi, 145 Club. Thank you for being here. I started a little early. Those of you that watch, you know I missed last week, and I have to tell you that while I'm sort of feeling better, this is not like a cold. I'm dealing with some back and leg pain, and it's excruciating at night. I don't know what happens at night, but it just goes off. So I'm very sleep deprived. So I just kind of wanted to let you know that, and let you know that I'm just going to talk about one aspect today because I think I feel like I have something similar to sciatica. I'm not sure it is sciatica, but there is nerve issues involved, and we have the Uranus Mars North Node conjunction. We're sitting on it right now. Mars is, I believe, at 17 degrees Taurus today, and the North Node and Uranus are both at 18 degrees. The 18th degree is the Virgo degree, which I started to think about was very interesting because Virgo rules our health, both our mental health, our jobs have a lot to do with our mental health, and Uranus rules our nervous system. And Mars rules adrenaline. So there's a lot of pumped up energy going on right now. And Mars is going to be in a conversation with the North Node and Uranus for 2 weeks. I think about 2 weeks from now, it will be at about 21, 22 degrees. I can't remember. And then it'll start having that square to transiting Pluto. So these next couple weeks are going to move at rapido pace, like that. And we're going to find that I think people are going to be on their last nerve. I think that it's going to feel extremely unsettling and tense. And it's on us to try to be mindful so that we don't get absorbed into the fray, is the way I want to put it. Uranus rules rebellion. It rules liberation. It rules innovation. It also rules anxiety and feeling alien and feeling not connected in some ways on a personal level. It's connected to the humanitarian dynamic, to the bigger picture of things, but not necessarily to the picture of the individual. So here we're going to see that I think there's going to be, we consider Taurus our history, our family history, our sense of self-worth. It's the first time the soul encounters its ability to create through its skills, through its voice, when we see it go from Aries into Taurus. And so I think what's going to happen is that a lot of the things we're seeing in the news around the world where people are rights we've been given and now they're trying to be taken away, and freedoms that we have known and enjoyed that are being restricted in various ways. I think people are just going to have a very, very short fuse. And so, when it comes to road rage, don't engage. That's my advice. Really pick your battles this week. Do your best to be mindful, because I really think that there's going to be some shocking developments, things that we may have kind of creeped around. I don't know the way I want to say it. Right now there's so much interesting stuff going on. So I don't want to play to conspiracy theories and this and that, but I believe that there's going to start to be this reveal that people start to wake up from their slumber, right? From their blind trust in a system that may not have their back completely. And this is where I think this North Node Uranus conjunction in Taurus is just, with Mars, is just going to go a little wackadoo. And I just want to encourage you all to let your spidey sense lead the way this next few weeks, even if it seems stupid. You know, I don't know why. I just feel like this isn't a good place to be. So, and I want to say this because, you know, when I'm in some random, I had some really weird random thoughts, because as I'm walking down the street now to walk the dog, I'm not walking very fast because of what's happening with my hip and my leg and the pain. And I just have like these weird thoughts, like, you know, I'm like, I feel like a sitting duck when I'm standing on the street. And I've never felt that way before. And the chances of somebody driving by and shooting me are probably pretty zero. But the idea that I have these thoughts now, and the idea that there's this contributing factor in the media and in what we're reading and what we're being absorbed by. So I really want to bring this to the forefront, because Uranus can liberate us and Mars can make us brave to take action in a new way. And if there's one thing that I have really dug deep in, it's co-creation. I think the last video I did was that musing on this mercurial dynamic, because I thought it's so interesting, you know, the way our mind works and what we teach others about us just through our verbiage and how we show up. So I say that because I feel like each one of us is going to be aware of thoughts, whether they're dark or light, doesn't really matter. It's whether you take action on them. Because the unconscious person that's frustrated up to here will snap. And you don't want to be anywhere around that. That's what I'm saying. So that's kind of the only transit I really wanted to talk about today. I wanted to be here for you and do the show. I'm still not feeling my best. So if you see me rocking back and forth, that's my self-soothing as I'm trying not to address my own nerve pain right now. All right. So I'm going to go right into the readings. I know I'm starting early today, so some of our peeps haven't even had a chance to show up. Oh, wow, Joe. Yeah, there's so much going on in my personal chart. I have Saturn on my Chiron. Chiron's in opposition to my Uranus, which is in a square to transiting Uranus, and the North Node in Mars. And I'm like, oh dear God, I totally it's so weird to see it and to know it and not really be able to change how you feel about it on a dime. It's weird to see it and have it actually. This is the other thing I was thinking about this morning when I was meditating. I thought to myself, you know, as a human, we barely give life to the idea that the people around us and their attitudes affect us, that energy is life. And yet here we are every week talking about planets that are billions of miles away, having influence over our everyday lives. And I really do believe they do. This weird cosmic coming together of opportunities, because I believe that most of this disruption is divinely guided to awaken us to our choices and where we have given our power up, which is why Pluto's influence right now in Capricorn is so extreme and has been. But, you know, this last few years is really unprecedented for those of us on the planet. So I kind of feel like, for me, I've been super sensitive, and feeling like every time I hear the word family or family dinner or coziness and people celebrating each other and loving each other, I feel like this is such a rare commodity right now. So as you walk through the next few weeks, guys, be aware of this Uranus-Mars North Node conjunction. And, you know, we can't forget about it all boomeranging to the South Node in Scorpio. So if you've got Scorpio activity going on, planets there, you could have no rising, no moon, no sun there. And you could have Venus up in Scorpio or Mercury in your natal chart up there, and it's going to boom, hit you. Because that's another thing I thought. While the South Node hasn't hit my Mercury yet in Scorpio, it's inching towards it. And I'm like, do not take my mobility away from me. I'm like, no, because Mercury rules so many different things that you just don't know where the South Node, where it could be, where the erosion's coming in. So, and then we had laughed because the last time I did a show, I was whining and bitching how somebody called me elderly. And then, here I am hobbling around like an elderly woman. Anyway, my attitude is still okay. All right, guys, I'm going to jump into the readings and I'm going to start with Leo rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. And if you guys wouldn't mind, if anybody wants to jot down the timestamp right now, I have a team of people that are going through their own stuff. So we'll see who shows up today and who might need a day off. Hello, Lammy girl. Oh, goodbye, Lammy girl. Hi, Sacred Owl. Hi, Lucy Rose. It's good to see you. Did I say hi to Katerina and Michelle? I hope I did. Good morning. There you are. Yeah, I know. Lammy girl, I feel it too. And it's kind of, this conjunction can play out in so many ways. It really, the North Node is what we're stretching for. When we look at our past life and we use the nodes as the indicators for that. The South Node's what we're used to, and the North Node's what we're stretching for, right? It's what we haven't experienced enough to anchor into our soul's imprint. So here we are seeing the North Node in Taurus, wanting grounding, wanting my voice to be heard, my skills, wanting my history to start to work for me instead of pulling me under. Then we have Uranus, and I really believe Uranus is kind of like intuition in some ways, because when I first started feeling my intuition, it was always things that didn't feel good. It made me nervous, made me think something weird was going to happen. And then as I started to work with it, I realized that those experiences vibrated a very dense energy, like a bass. So when you're driving down the street and a guy's playing his music loud, you hear the bass more than anything. Boom, 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 boom. So here we have this idea of stretching for liberating ourselves in a brave and courageous, peaceful warrior way. Because I believe the only way to truly transform the dynamics now to service and not circle back around and do this again 100 years from now or 200 years from now is to really take root in the idea that thoughts are things, and our repetitive thoughts create a magnet, create a momentum. And that momentum is actually what I check in. When I do a personal reading, that's what I do. Most of it I'm shown are not predictions about blah, blah, blah coming in or out. It shows me your emotional makeup and your ability to take in what it is you want to receive. Because in this moment, with this all being in Taurus, this is a time when we could receive more things that we want. Have like looking at the high vibrations of Taurus, having nice things around us that make us feel at home and cozy, and having good food in our house, and feeling family and friends, and being able to just, kind of take all the higher vibrations of these could be very tumultuous energies, and then focusing in on that. And I want to offer this too, because when this week being in pain, it was really hard to try to pull my mind into a place of being free from the pain. I was trying to play this little game with myself and tell the pain to go away, and it would go away for a second, and then I would notice myself doubt myself, and then look for the pain to start again, and it would take a few seconds, and then it would start again. And once it started again, I had a lot of trouble going back into getting it to step out. So I haven't conquered this by any means. It's a roller coaster ride for me. But I also think that with Uranus ruling nerves and Mars being my rising sign and the ruler of my chart, I'm kind of seeing how this could play out right now. And I want to tell you this too, because being a believer in co-creation, I know how this started. It started with corn chowder. It started with me eating something that was dairy laden that wasn't going to work for me. And I knew it when I bought it. I saw it. It looked delicious. I walked out of the store. I'm like, not going to do it, not going to do it. And then I walked back in and I got it. So I'm here not to, bitch about this last week of me, but basically to be accountable, to dig deeper into looking at how did I contribute to what I'm experiencing? How can I contribute to the reconciliation of that experience and have it work for me and empower me to be stronger? Because one of the things I do know, and I've been ignoring, is the more I step in my intuitive body, the more my body needs higher vibrational foods. So where before I could eat, crap all the time, my body doesn't like it anymore. And I don't think it's just about aging. I think it has to do with standing and telling this universe that I want to be a contributor to its benefit, to its higher vibration. So when I do behaviors that speak to its lower vibration, my body reacts. So, all right, guys, let's go. I promised Leo like a mile ago that I was going to start with Leo, and I started talking about something else. Good morning, Gia. Good morning, Shelley. Did I say hi? Lucy Rose, Visalia. Good morning. I used to have an aunt, Visalia. I said hi to Lammy Girl. Okay, I hope I got everybody. All right, let's get started. Okay, our first tarot card today for our Leos. We're going to start at Leo and we're going to work our way around to Cancer. This is my new thing so that everybody, good morning, small wildflowers. So glad you're here. I hope you're feeling better. So this is going to be my new thing in my attempt to be fair to everybody. Okay, here we go. Leo, we have a very Taurian energy here for you in this tarot card. It is the Knight of Pentacles. This is steady, earthbound energy. And I want to say it this way because I don't want to make it earthbound in a way that's too stubborn, but something that's dependable and reliable. And I can't help but noticing the red garb, the robe over his armor, and thinking to myself that this is an opportunity for Leo to really start to anchor in and be steady about what they're creating in the way of their resources. Okay, let's look and see what the tarot cards. Let's see if this is actual straight up money, if this is something else to do with the earth plane, because it could have anything to do with earth matters, including Virgonian earth matters. I'm Teri. Teri is my worst, and it's just so tragic. I don't know, anyway. All right, here we go. Our first angel is Archangel Gabriel. The second is Ariel. The third is Indriel. And the final is Maya. Okay. So starting with Leo here, and now I'm thinking, okay, Archangel Gabriel is about entertainment. It's about having a divine life's purpose in the arts and not letting insecurities get in your way. Let's see if we're going that way. The Grail Knight, Ariel is being joined by the Hawk. Indriel is being joined by the Lady of the Lake. And Maya is being joined by the Mystery card. Okay, so God bless you, Leo. You're a fixed sign, right? And I have love for all the signs in my own way. And Leo is something I've been charmed by a Leo man once or twice, and it is really fun. It may not have ended well, but it was fun at the time. I want to offer it this way because for my Leos, I think this is an opportunity for you to start to think steadily and practically a little bit about what you want to create in the physical world. Not only could it potentially bring you money, but it feels like it's something to do with your self-expression, your art, your own sense of creation. Archangel Gabriel talks about communications and the arts. So this could be anything from doing a podcast, a YouTube channel, actually being an artist, being a singer, being a chef. But this Grail Knight is about bowing down to the sacred parts of yourself. The Grail Knight also represents illusion and romance. And I think that there is the potential that if there has been any illusions, if there has been any inadvertent lies that we tell ourselves. And I don't want to say that to be harsh, but sometimes we tell ourselves things that hold us small, and they actually inhibit us from getting what we want to have and what we want to achieve. And I think oftentimes, like when we talk about relationships or wanting to have money, we also never take into consideration that once we start to see evidence of that, we become vulnerable to its continued flow. And that continued flow is possible. That's what the Pentacles is saying. The Knight of Pentacles is saying there's the potential, but there's part of it is going to be focus. If you look at this guy is steady in his focus. He's focusing in on his pentacle. He's not looking right or left. And his horse is just as steady. Then we have the Grail Knight bowing down to his deepest truth. And then this is Archangel Gabriel saying, how are you going to talk to yourself during this time of unsureness? Because Ariel says new psychic and spiritual experiences are changing the way you view yourself in the world. And there's the hawk. And again, we see the 11. The 11 is about the master number of thought. Thoughts are things. And I think this is, again, keeping your sight above the situation, meaning above your insecurities. It's almost as if, what if? Because Leo is kind of funny sometimes because, again, depending upon the aspects in your chart, not every Leo acts like a Leo. Sometimes you meet a Leo and you're like, oh my God, you're a Leo? Who would have thought? But sometimes they get this sort of, I want to show people what I'm capable of. And then at the same time, they get kind of like this little bit of insecurity going on, or this feeling of unsureness, because how will the audience react? And now I believe Indriel is saying it's time to let your light shine and be brave and have self-respect and take self-responsibility. And because you can't do anything less than be who you are. And as a Leo, rising moon, sun, or stelliums, all the things that come with Leo, the richness of life, it falls under the house of Leo. And that house of Leo is probably the only house that really gives us so much warm, fuzzy energy within it. I mean, when I think about it, when I think of the key words of the fifth house, there's really nothing challenging in it. We go on to the sixth house, we talk about slavery, employment, our health, all of that has something connected to it. And then there's the idea of the fifth house, because the fourth house is family dynamics and everybody else. So the fifth house is all about you, and you in romance, you and your children, conception of children, not the raising of children. Well, maybe high school children, but you get what I'm saying. Because I think you're going to learn something by your choices, Leo. And that is to be brave and steady in your choices, not to look for immediate results, not to look around yourself to see if there's evidence that your creation is solid and steady, especially right now, because everything is so transient. But to be steady within yourself, to attract a steady vibration around you that will then help you continue to feel a sense of security moving forward. That's the way I want to put it. Okay. I wanted to say hi to Les. I saw him up there in the chat, way up there. So I want to say hi to Les. Good morning. Good morning, JD F8879. Did I miss anybody? Hi, Shelly. I hope I said hi to you. I think I said hi to Gia. All right, let's go on to our Virgos, rising moon, sun, or and stelliums. When I was thinking about the conjunction being at 18 degrees, Nicole, I always has some interesting things to say about the 18th degree and the 22nd degree. But I started to think about the idea of Mars and Uranus and the North Node coming together. I mean, Mars is still at 17 degrees, but within a day or so, they'll all be at 18 degrees. And I really am very concerned, or not concerned, but I'm very curious to see if some of the shocking and the warlike activities come as a result of something health related, or something that's happening within our healthcare system, or something that's happening where there are alternative avenues for dealing with healthcare issues that have recently been legalized, and they want to return those the way they've upended other things. So I bring this up because as I go into the Virgo energy, I feel like that health thing is important to pay attention to, or what you're enslaved to, because there could be an eruption in anything that you're enslaved to. And it's how, because what I want to say is I'm going to like kind of work under the assumption as a tribe, we're going to be the more conscious energy in any situation, although it doesn't mean we're that conscious. But as we become more conscious of how we want to show up, then we have some sense of control or creation within a dynamic, and we can diffuse anything that gets a little over the top. All right, Virgo, the Two of Cups. This is an interesting energy because I always see the Leo energy with the lion having the courage to offer and to receive a cup. I'm not looking at this as lovers right now. I'm looking at this as an exchange of energy that feels warm and fuzzy. Oh, Michelle. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to see what this is about because I need to look at the angels before I go too far with this. When I look at it initially, the Two of Cups, I see the blue garb on the one side of the character that looks like a woman. And then I see the yellow with the black dots on it. And I feel like there's something coming here together as well. It's almost as if she's offering a cup, and that cup is that it has something to do with how she's going to communicate and emote. And then when I look at his yellow, I see the power center of the chakras, and I feel like he's offering her cup and he's going to be powerful for her. Look at it. I'm trying not to bend too much, but you can see he's really offering her both the cup and his hand. You see both the hands. So there's a sense of protection, a sense of something solid there in what he's offering her in the way of being it on. He's offering her some sort of bounty, earth bounty. All right, here we go. Oh, yes, please like my videos. It helps. Everything helps. All right, let's see where we're going with this, Virgo. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. I was talking to a client the other day, and it actually was a couple. It's like a little bit of a theme. And when I look at this Two of Cups, there's something very much about, we talk about wanting to have all these good things in our lives. But I got to tell you guys, the minute those good things show up, there are triggers like even worse than the bad things. The triggers of loss, when we find something that we love, it's almost maddening that, we struggle for the experiences we want to have. We yearn for them, and then we start to receive them, and they're almost as emotionally tumultuous as not having them because we haven't practiced receiving. Believing that if we stand in a vulnerable place, meaning I trust that I'm enough. And so, yeah, when someone comes in my life, I'm hoping I'm enough for you. That's what happens. I'm enough. I'm cute enough. My boobs are big enough. My brain is big enough. My pocket's big enough. We do this inadvertently. And then what happens is we start this new situation and we start to poke around in it to see if they will accept what we know we don't accept in ourselves. And then we prove ourselves right as that disintegrates. So we don't give into the warm, fuzzy side. It's nothing we do consciously. It's how we've been raised and trained as humans. I don't care your gender. I don't care your race. I don't care your geographical location. There's an underbelly for all of us. So let's see. Where's Virgo being asked to receive a cup? Receive love. Our first angel is Xana, the angel of protection. The second is Daniel, the angel of marriage. The third is Archangel Gabriel. And the final is Celeste. Celeste represents work. Virgo represents work. Xana's being joined by the joy card. Daniel's being joined by the burden card. Archangel Gabriel's being joined by the trust card. And Celeste is being joined by Merlin. Well, this is very interesting because as a Virgo, or talking about Virgo, this feels like it may potentially have to do, not with love at all, but with partnership in business, partnership in employment. That's ruled by this house. And I want to, because it feels like there's been a change of some kind. And of the two, Gemini and Virgo both being ruled by Mercury, the thing that differentiates them is that Gemini will persuade with words, like be very persuasive. And Virgo is more process oriented. Here's how we do it. Here's how we make sure it's done correctly. So if there's been disruption in some way within your work environment, or if there's been disruption, because it's got something to do with a historic, that's what Daniel's going to say. But let's look here, because Xana's the angel of protection, and there's the joy card. So if for some reason you have found yourself in a position where I kind of, it's weird when I look at this, because the Two of Cups to me feels like I'm to take this cup that's offering me something. And at the same time, I'm feeling a weird resistance to it in the spread, meaning, or in my heart, because Virgo works very hard. Virgo is very dutiful in some ways. And so allowing yourself to have the privilege to have joy, I don't want to say joy, go have fun, play hooky for a day. Maybe that doesn't always happen for you. And so maybe this is about coming into partnership with the two sides of yourself. What is your voice? This is this blue garb. And then how do I want to assert myself as I couple up with myself for what is most important with me? Because whatever it is, it's time to start to bring more joy focus, because there is burden through historic partnership. Burden through something that's continuous. Daniel talks about marriage, and most people, when they do a tarot reading or an angel reading and they get the angel of marriage, they get all excited because they think it means something different than it does, because our history is our history. I just got done talking about it, about how we poke holes. If they don't know, how bad we can be, or, our truth, sometimes we poke at it. And I feel like for Virgo, being a bit of on the lower end of the vibration, if you're being a perfectionist, you may be picking at yourself. And this burden feels like maybe you can't let go of your history, or you can't rewrite your history. Your mind is going over and over again, because Archangel Gabriel talks about insecurity, but this is also this is like kind of a Gemini energy for me. So I'm really leaning towards work with Virgos. I'm really leaning towards the idea, because this is the trust card in the angel's advice. Archangel Gabriel talks about being insecure. And when I think about the idea of communications, our whole world is run, via TikTok and the internet and da-da-da-da-da. And so at this point, I think that Virgo might want to sit down and come into partnership with this. If there's a disruption at work, whether you lose your job or not, but there could be disruption around you, like your favorite person leaves, they quit. And you're like, oh my God, I don't want to work here if you don't work here. Because this happy move to a new home or a new place of employment feels like a place of employment. It does today. It doesn't feel like a shift in my thinking. And this is Merlin offering me justice, alchemy, and balance. And alchemy is money. Alchemy is putting something into the real world that's valuable. And here, this is in relation to Xana and the joy card. So I want to encourage Virgo, rising moon, sun, and stelliums this week to really come into partnership with yourself. And if for some reason you find, because this Uranus thing may completely happen at work, man. You may be at work and two coworkers, they don't get along, and the next thing you know, they have a blowout, kapoosh, and you're like, oh my God, now I have to work twice as hard as I have already because she just quit. It can be very dramatic. I'm not going to say it couldn't, but on some level, I think that this could be a clarifying moment for Virgo, a clarifying moment that says, okay, I need to take care of me. And I need to remember that if I don't make room for joy and fun and good things in my life that I like, who's going to do it? because something good can come out of this. And it might be where you just find a new job, or you find yourself with a new mindset about your job. Okay. Alrighty. Let's go on to our Libras. You know, I'm so funny how I read things sometimes. When I see small, say it got buried in spam, I thought that was spam, like, you know, the cup stuff you fry in a pan. Spam, fat pork stuff. My mind is in the weirdest places lately. Okay. All right. Let's see what's going on for Libra. That would be rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. My associative skills lately are reverting back to 1974. All right, Libra. Oh, dear God, I'm a Libra sun. Can I just tell you, I'm like so excited right now. All right, here it is. Libra, God bless us. This character, the Eight of Swords, really does represent mutable air. So this is going to represent Gemini air. And it's going to really represent how in many cases we are often part of the wall that keeps us from what we want. We're part of the block. This character could easily slip out of those bandages. They look like bandages. I don't know if you can see, but her mask is very, very loose. And she's almost standing in it where she could find more solid ground if she wanted to. So to me, there's something about this character that there's a little bit of a victim-y energy in this. And it's sort of like, okay, I'll tell you what happened. Remember when I told you guys how the police called me elderly? They came to my door. Well, I was in the market this morning buying Epsom salt because I'm going to take an Epsom salt bath after this. And I saw the lady they were looking for. And my goodness gracious, while she was trying to talk to me, I was just like, I could see how she was part of the wall of her own issues. Okay. Because everything that was coming out of her thought process was, I'm a big, huge victim. And please acknowledge my victimhood so you don't make me a bad person. And I just said to her, look, I'm not judging you. I'm just giving you a piece of information. You know, the police are looking for you. So I want to offer this, Libra, because I'm a Libra sun. And if I'm to be very honest with myself, I know that I shouldn't eat dairy. So I am part of the problem that has happened to me this week. I started this and now I get to stop it by paying attention to what makes me happy. I'm sorry, not happy. I saw happy birthday. What makes me healthy, both mentally and physically, because I think that this is something somebody doesn't want to see. And let's see what they're talking about. But Libra, you know, in your cooperation, wanting to always kind of make everything harmonious, you could find yourself in a position where you're trying to be, you know, hint around at something, but somebody's not getting it. Daniel, the angel of marriage. Then we have Crystal. Then we have Isaiah. And then we have Archangel Raphael. Well, thank you. I could use that. Okay, here I go. I knew I could feel it when it was coming out because I'm a Libra sun. So I'm like, okay, so this is for me too. My thought process has been really running history, really running the old story of who done me wrong, what's been doing me wrong. Oh, poor me. I got to take care of myself when I'm sick. I got to drag my hurt body to the store. I got to do, you know, these are choices I've made. Okay. And I know I've made them. And when I don't feel well, boy, does that story seem to shift to me being a huge victim. And that's kind of what I feel like. No offense, but being a Libra myself, this feels very much like I'm standing there myself. And I'm ready to wiggle out of those damn things. Crystal's being joined by the Lady of the Lake. Oh, I didn't even tell you who Daniel was being joined by. Well, we'll get there in a minute. All right. I'm just going to do it this way. All right. Here's the Wind Fairy. Thank you very much. Could she be more like the 9 of Swords or the 8 of Swords right now? Because this is all about thoughts. And there's Daniel, the angel of marriage, but I don't think this is about marriage because I only like to really address marriage if I'm talking to one person, okay? This is history. And I think Libra's stuck in their history. I think that Libra is somehow always trying to purport harmony and balance and peace and make everything warm and fuzzy and lovey for everybody. And, oftentimes others just, take whatever they have and they're like, thank you. And they move on. And I think that if Libra needs something, they get to actually open and speak and ask, because Crystal is saying have faith and hope. There's more on the horizon. And then the Lady of the Lake is about self-respect. It's about absolute truth. And this is what I want to say. As Teri, I sit here, oh, poor me, I have to do everything myself. This woman at the Starbucks yesterday offered, was it yesterday or the day before, to get me, she tried some pain relief called Arnica, and she said, let me pick it up for you. Because I know you don't have a car and you don't walk. I mean, you can't walk down to the Whole Foods. And I was like, no, I'll get it on Amazon. No, I don't want to bother you. Well, sure enough, Amazon is going to take 5 days to get the damn product. And I'm a Prime person. So I told her that, and she's like, well, I'm going to be at Sprouts. And so my whole point of telling you this is that I cry about nobody there to help me. And then when someone wants to help me, I'm like, no. So this Libra, it's kind of time to really reconcile and look inside yourself and where are you the wall of your own problems? Where are you focusing in your thoughts on where, you feel stuck and you feel like you're part of there's a part of me that almost feels today like this girl is saying, as she feels bound to be the way she's being, like it's what everybody expects of me, so I must be that way. But I don't think you need to, because Daniel, again, is the history. And there's the rumination of the history over and over and over and over. And then there's taking responsibility for my history and then giving life to the idea that something new is possible. Just because something has been repetitive, and if we are able to catch that we are part of the loop of thought that helps co-create that. So if my thought can shift, and the thought doesn't have to shift dramatically from black to white, but the thought can shift to what if something new could come in? Because Isaiah is offering a new beginning and protection and happiness. And the cow is offering abundance and nourishment. And when I look at it this way, I feel like this is a multitude of things. I feel like the nourishment and abundance isn't necessarily from food or from money, but feeling a flow, feeling as if there's a rhythm to things, that the history is actually working for us instead of against us, right? Because in the final position is Archangel Raphael, and look at that disruption card. I think that disruption card is the epiphany that I have been co-creating my own problem by putting focus on it. And I want to say this as well, because I know from personal experience that changing my focus isn't always easy to do. I can feel the loop just almost jump right back in, like as if, I'll be there. Look at that really nice thing. Let me take that in. And the minute I take that in, I'm like, and there's that motorcycle that just zoomed by and went in my face. It's a very back and forth time. So just be gentle with yourself, Libra. Be gentle with yourself, because what's happening is Spirit is trying to give you epiphanies, not to judge yourself, not to condemn yourself, but to illuminate you so we can disrupt the old pattern of thought that is preventing you from moving forward to where you want to be. Okay. Oh my God. Oh, that's so funny. I clue into the chat at the funniest times, and I see CJD talking about 5 cans of Spam in the cupboard in case the shit hits the fan. See, that wouldn't be good for me. Even if the shit hit the fan, I would be like, then I would be in the middle of disruption and I'd be like, all right, we're going on to our Scorpios. I don't. You know what? I think it probably tastes pretty good. I think I think if you fry it up, it tastes like some sort of hash. Super salty. There we go. I love salt. All right, Scorpio. Let's see what's going on with you. Oh, the Ace of Pentacles. This is very interesting. Recently when I've seen this card, I can't help but notice this little path to the garden, and I feel like what's being offered is something that will be grounded, the beginning of something, not just money, but something that comes into the material. And I feel like part of it is for Scorpio to take that little walk to the unknown. Let's see where we're going. I've been stockpiling my freezer with things that I like. I don't only have a small freezer, but, I got some gluten-free penne pastas and some marinara sauce. Cookie dough. I don't think I can eat the cookie dough right now. I know. I feel the same way, Joe. All right, here we go. Scorpio. First angel is Bridget. The second is Mystique. The third is Bethany. And the final is Ray. Yes, we're on Scorpio. I just finished Libra. We got the Ace of Pentacles for Scorpio. And if anybody wants to take note of the timestamps, and even if it's only your timestamp, put it in the comments. That would be terrific since we don't have our wonderful wand today. All right, here we go. Bridget is being joined by the Lady of the Lake. Mystique's being joined by Merlin. Bethany's being joined by the Raven. Sorry, I didn't sleep last night. And Ray's, being joined by the Wasp, Scorpio. Ooh, okay. All right, this looks a little bit. Bridget talks about looking deeper into something. And here we have the Lady of the Lake. So there's something going on with Scorpio where there is a real need to look deeper into what your absolute truth is. Where is your courage? Where are you being responsible for your own self-care? I have to pull another card for Scorpio because Ray and the Wasp is just leaving me feeling cranky, but I don't know why. So let's see. And then there's the forgiveness card. All right, Scorpio. So I'm going to say this. Scorpio, you have the South Node going through your house. So the Lucy Rose, you're so sweet. You're doing the timestamps with the real time, though, not the timestamp on the video. It would be where we are and how long we've been on the video. Anyway, okay, let me go back to Scorpio. I'm sorry I interrupted myself. When I look at the Bridget and the Lady of the Lake, this is really might feel a little bit like about having the courage to look deeper into what is important to you, what you want to experience in the material world, where this garden is taking you. I felt very much when I looked at this that it wasn't so much about money as much as it feels like it has to do with the Uranus North Node Mars conjunction that is opposing Scorpio. Because this may bring a real electrifying and almost anger in the opposition to you, Scorpio, because maybe there's been something underneath that you've been not addressing. Scorpio kind of rules things that are, in the dark. And here is justice, alchemy, and balance, and mystique, saying keep charging ahead. If I didn't know better, I could say maybe Scorpio experienced some sort of, I kind of want to go with the work environment because of the Ace of Pentacles and because it represents money and the infusion of money. That's the first thing they teach you. And if you are somebody who's been working super hard at your job and feeling like, I just was doing a session for somebody who works with people and always kind of overgives, hoping that they'll notice, whoever they're giving to in the work environment, and then they will be compensated. And then they're not. They're just being asked to do more and more and more. And Scorpio, I think this is time for you to take care of yourself in order to create the alchemy and where you want to move forward from. There could potentially be something that's happened in the work environment. And I don't think it feels like an insult of some kind, or maybe there's an insult on its way. Oh, I don't know. But because Ray is talking about connecting your power to spirit. And then I have the Wasp, and then I have the Forgiveness card. And, if there was ever a card that represented what this conjunction is going to feel like, it's this damn Wasp. Okay. So for my Scorpios, I feel like this is the time to, and I don't even know, when I look at the idea of the Lady of the Lake digging deeper into my truth and having that courage to stand on my truth, I don't think that that's about talking to somebody else about it. I think this is about talking to yourself. And if for some reason you've been in a situation that you hoped would change, it may change unexpectedly. Lammy girl, I don't really believe in forgiving. To be honest with you, I can't forgive very easily because people who need my forgiveness or require my forgiveness perpetrate the same crimes on me over and over again and then tell me to get over it because that's just who they are. So what this happened to be, it turned into reconciliation where I can take a situation, smell and feel the energy of it, and then not engage, not move forward with that. Instead, I'm going to stay away from you because I've been here, done that. So I can reconcile that you're just who you are and I don't want to have anything to do with it. So that's how I see the Forgiveness card. I don't have to like you. I don't have to villainize you. I don't have to do anything, but you don't work for me. So I get to move over here. And if I don't, then it's my bad. That's how I take responsibility. So something's going on with Scorpio because this is about self-care and it's time for you to take care of yourself. So at the end of the day, this may not be easy for you. There may be circumstances surrounding this situation that, Scorpio rules death and rebirth. And I feel like there's a potential that maybe there was a situation that appeared to be a little hard, and then there's a deeper truth attached to it. And when I go to the deeper truth, I can find solace in it because I can then make it work for me and I can alchemize the situation and I can be stronger moving forward. And I think what that is about Scorpio taking care of themselves. Now, let me take this completely out of the work environment. If you're dating somebody and you're a Scorpio and you've been, hoping they'd change or hoping that promise that they made 3 million years ago would actually, start to show up, then at this point, I think with the South Node going through Scorpio, I think you have to be egoless in recognizing a deeper truth that you've not recognized. That, if we think about Scorpio ruling power and control, you may have thought, if I just stick in there, if I love someone enough, if I work hard enough, if I, suck hard enough, do hard enough, whatever it is hard enough, then you will change and you will be different and I will be happy. And that might be the problem. Because I think that's what Bridget is really referring to. Because if you take care of you, will you pay a terrible price for it? Because if you do, then maybe you shouldn't be in that situation or in that relationship. Because anybody you're in a relationship with, whether it be an employer, a friend, a family member, a coworker, you should be able to thrive. So that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. All right, let's go on to our Sagittariuses. Oh, See, that's a long time. 39 years is a large imprint on our way of thinking. And I've found in my experience sometimes that I get villainized for having healthy boundaries. I get, clients sometimes they'll call me at 10 o'clock at night freaking out. And damn, if I pick up that phone, I'll bet you $1 million they never pay me for it. And I've picked up the phone too many times. Okay, here we go. Sagittarius, it's time to stop defending yourself. This is the 7 of Wands. This is a card of defending yourself, and we're not really sure if there's anything to defend. So let's look and see what Spirit has to say. I'm kind of running through things a little quickly today. It's this. I don't know what I'm saying right now. I went back into it. So let's just think. Sagittarius, your ruling planet is Jupiter. Jupiter is sitting next to Chiron in Aries retrograde. Don't defend your beliefs. Don't defend your position. You don't need to. Yeah. Indra is being joined by the Lady of the Lake. Desiree is being joined by the Disruption card. Maya is being joined by the Cat. Wow. And Isaiah is being joined by the Frog. Okay. This is absolutely has to do with your emotional body and your interactions with others. When I say you don't defend yourself, I want to offer it this way. I kind of want to say have confidence in your belief system and do your best to. Here we go. Indriel is the light worker, and there's Lady of the Lake. Self-respect, responsibility, courage, absolute truth. As a light worker, and I'm going to call my Sagittarius as light workers here, you don't need to defend or to teach or to convince anyone of anything. Just hold your truth in the midst of the storm, because I'm telling you, there's a damn big storm coming this next few weeks, and that storm is going to lead to another storm, because we're in hurricane season in astrology, and it's going to hurt because here is Disruption card and Desiree. There's storm brewing and there's disruption brewing. Don't engage. Don't beat your head against a wall. You know better. Healthy boundaries. This is Maya, the angel of schooling and education. This is healthy boundaries is not always about avoiding people physically. It's about, do I engage? There are certain people, like I have a guy who literally asked me to marry him like 9 million times in my lifetime. And recently on Facebook, he just freaking lambasted me because he has some crazy right-wing, really judgy things that he puts on that social media platform. And when he just lambasted me on it, I did not respond, period. I did not do anything. That sends a message. Because it's time, Sagittarius, for a new beginning, new ideas. And this is cleaning up emotional baggage. So this is really not about defending yourself, not about validating yourself. This is about holding steady on some level to your ideas, your thoughts, what you want for yourself. And then, be sure to have some galoshes and an umbrella. That's all I can really say, because the storm is coming. And even if you think, this is why I had to laugh the other day when the police came to my door and called me an old lady. And I'm like, how am I sitting in my house? How did I attract that? How? Because logic would defy that. Logic would say, you didn't attract that. You weren't anywhere near it. But that's like the planets. We're nowhere near any of the planets. They're billions of light years away. And look what they're doing. Look how they're affecting us. So I want to say for my Sagittarius is hold on to your truth. We see the Lady of the Lake is in the midst of a storm. She's just holding her truth ever so effortlessly. And by doing so, you'll have a much stronger effect. And if not on anybody else, on yourself. Super important. And I think that will set a new platform for how you walk through the rest of these disruptive days. All right, let's move on to our Capricorns, our little goaty goats. Bah. All righty. You know, Lucy, it really does feel like there's just everybody's being inundated with these kind of reflections is, I guess, a word I want to use, because I think the difference between this disruptive period of time and previous disruptions is that we have more choices now. We actually have more freedoms within the disruption than we had before. If we think about the Civil War, the boys in the South, oftentimes one of the slaves would go with a son into war to protect him because that was his job. So not only was the slave a slave and did not have any choice in his life, he had no choice in how he would die because he was told what should be done. This might be an extreme example, but it's a very real example. And our fears, we become captive to them as well. So oftentimes when we want to implement a change, we start to muse how other people will respond to it. And I feel like at this moment in time, the only real way to individualize ourselves and to live the life we want through the tumultuous time is to remember that thoughts are things. And as we focus on those thoughts and they're working for us, then we will stand in opposition to what is. And that example of how to thrive in non-thriving times has a very powerful ripple effect. All right, Capricorn. Don't be stingy. Don't hoard your money. Don't hoard your resources. This is really a guy who has what he wants, but he's just holding on to it in the most peculiar and precarious ways. Very funny. All right. Did you guys notice my Elsa nails? I got them right before last week, and it was my little thing, to tell me that the fear thing I always talk about. Joe, I agree. And I think that's why I think that this particular time in history is more about our choices, because we have so much information and the unconscious will come into this conjunction, firing, like just ready to blow shit up. Like I'm so mad. It could be really rough. And I'm going to tell you, do not engage in road rage, people. Do not engage in frivolous arguments, let alone arguments with people that you bang your head against, because it's not going to work out good for anybody. Capricorn, where are you hoarding things? Where are you holding too tight on things? Let's see. There is there throughout history, and this is why I love history so much, there's always the opposite of whatever the historic dynamic is. So like, during Spanish flu and all the people who perished through that, there are people who survived it. Those aren't usually talked about because fear sells, drama sells. We see it. There's a formula to creating a story. You have the setup, then you have the second act break where there's a calamity, a problem that pulls our lovers apart, pulls our hero or heroine away from their prize. And then the third act is where it all comes back together, and then they ride off into the sunset and live happily ever after. And this is really kind of very indicative of history. So we don't focus on the potentials of what can happen. We focus on the problem again. I've thought about this. Nancy Reagan, her deal about was, as first woman, was the war against drugs. And I'm going to be very, very honest right now. I believe when you go to war at something, you inflame it, you make it bigger. And now what I see is we need a war on the drug commercials, because those are the biggest drug dealers out there. And this is out of control. You don't ask your doctor to give you drugs. You ask your drug dealer to give you drugs, right? Your doctor should prescribe them because he is the professional who has assessed a situation. It's crazy right now. Capricorn, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Where are you hoarding? You could be hoarding a thought. You could be stuck in a thought, stuck in a way of being. And if you're late degree Capricorn with Pluto sitting on top of you right now and has been for years, it's time to make a change. Let's see. Our first angel is Indriel. The second is Xana. The third is Layla. And the final is Grace and Antoinette. You know, Capricorn rules history. I know we say that Taurus rules our family history, but Capricorn like rules Father Time. Okay, so I think of time as, you know, forever in history. And I'm wondering if there isn't a feeling of this card of feeling stuck is between a new regime and an old regime, or an old regime that's familiar and then a new unknown that is a potential coming. And then having to be brave in taking advantage of that. Okay. Indriel is being joined by the cow. Xana is being joined by the focus card. Layla is being joined by Lady of the Lake. And Grace and Antoinette is being joined by the Earth. Okay, I'm straight up think this is about resources. I think that, you know, if you're listening to all the trends and all the blah, 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 I'm not telling you to run out and spend all your money, but I am saying that be mindful. Do not let your joy be sacrificed. Do not let anything that you find high vibrational be sacrificed, because I think that this is an opportunity for Capricorn to stand in a new form of leadership when they recognize that sometimes they put themselves in a pretzel to work within the system. Because this feels like the system to me, because the poor people didn't have all those robes and a crown. All right. So Capricorn, now is an opportunity for you to truly have an epiphany and know that you will receive all you need, the abundance you need, the money you need, the food you need. And it's all about your ability to ask and receive and to stay focused, not on the evidence that you will receive, but on that you are being protected because you are representing from a whole different dynamic. Okay, meaning you're representing as a light worker what happens when you have focused thought. And now as you go through the storm of unraveling, because, you know, the thing about Capricorn, and I do love Capricorn, but it's dutiful, does things it doesn't want to do, but is expected to do. And in some respects, Capricorn wants other people to do what they're supposed to do. And if you're stuck in that and you're starting to build up a resentment, then you're not taking care of you. You're just starting to get annoyed because you're the only one doing it the right way. So now is a time to take back the truth. Take back your this is, again, self-respect. This is responsibility. And then there's Layla. And what I've been talking to the spirit about, my self-respect and responsibility right now, is realizing that I'm not really good all the time at focusing in where I want to be. I can be focusing on where I am and where I'm stuck. And that took me recently to looking and seeing that I have an opposition between my moon at 9 degrees Taurus and my Mercury at 13 degrees Scorpio. So here I teach you every week, but emotionally, do I feel that way? Not always. So I get to be okay with it. Sometimes I feel stuck. What I tell you isn't always what I can do, because now is a time for having compassion, Capricorn. Here's the Earth Fairy. I think this is compassion for yourself, for your resources, for the things that you have amassed, and for the structures that you enjoy that are probably going to crumble. Because a lot of old structures will crumble, and it won't be easy. They may look like they're dominating. They may look like they're taking over. They may look like they're going to bleed. But all those old structures that are out of balance are doing is inflaming the demand for, I'm trying to find a way to word this because I want to kind of encompass many genres. I believe that moving forward, humanity itself wants to live on structures, but structures that support the thriving, the growth, and the enjoyment of life, not the structures that say you must work 40 hours and then do your laundry and then clean your yard and then maybe take a nap and then go back to work the next day. Living an uncomfortably, what may appear somehow, this card feels like I'm stuck within my own bounty. I'm hoarding something. I'm holding on to it out of fear, and Capricorn rules fear. And so Spirit is saying it's time for you to know that abundance comes through the flow of your thoughts. Like you will draw the magnets to you, because having this compassion for yourself as you reinvent yourself, Capricorn, and you reinvent yourself from that Coach Boone dynamic, because I really like that analogy. I want to be an all-star football player. He says, you want to be a player? You could be a player. I'll never take anyone off my team, but you got to do the work. And that's what this is right now. The work is realizing you're a light worker. The work is realizing that your thoughts create abundance for you. And can you sit in abundance? And if indeed you are having challenge with your focus, you are protected. It's okay. Not every thought that you have is going to turn into blow up your world, because you're caught, and it's okay. I'm caught between what I've done and what I've always done and what seemed to work, but I wasn't really liking it much. And now, as I have compassion and I move into a sort of more grounded arena for myself from a new, it's almost like Capricorn taking leadership for themselves in a new way. And I want to offer this too for Capricorn, because you are an earth sign and you do trine Virgo, but that 18 degrees that's going on with Uranus and the North Node and Mars, Mars is going to change the degree, obviously, over the next few weeks as it goes through the sign. But being aware of your health and how your emotions, how you're getting a little bit stuck actually affects your health or affects how your body feels. It doesn't have to be anything dramatic. It could be that you give yourself a headache. It could be that you find yourself noticing that you're clenching your body and you're not being able to relax. Little things, because the Earth Fairy talks about your physical body. And this is about having compassion as you have an epiphany and people start to respond to you differently. Okay. Well, you know what? I think it's okay to be scared, because that's how you're courageous and brave. But in order to make a change, you got to continue to walk the walk. Walk the talk the talk. Whew. All right. On to our Aquariuses, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. God bless Saturn today. Thank you, Kara. Oh, Kedra, I'm sorry. Okay. Oh, this is nice. Aquarius. Lucky. Hey, Lucky. Lucky. Sorry. Don't do that, honey. There's the Emperor. This is awesome. So here we are in Aquarius. The Emperor is Aries. You can see the rams all over it. This is Mars. Okay, Aries is ruled by Mars. Let's see what we want to talk about. Because Uranus also rules Aquarius. We could have a lot about taking a leadership role here for Aquarius, standing in some sort of energy that isn't giving into the more challenging dynamic. I know, listen, Lucky. He's really enjoyed me having these back issues, because every day I was like, I'm going to give you a bath. I'm going to give you a bath. And then I couldn't bend over the tub long enough to give him a bath and fight with him, because he hates baths and he hates blow dryers. He hates having his paws touched, especially his left front paw. Okay. Aquarius. Merlina is our first angel. The second is Athena. The third is Rochelle. And the final is Caressa. Oh, something interesting could happen this week or these next couple of weeks. And I want to say it this way, because with this, here we are in Aquarius, your ruling planet, Uranus, is in this conjunction. The Emperor came up. Mars is in the conjunction. We have no card that represents the North Node, but something's going to come. Let's see what they have to say. Oh, there's some big transformation coming for Aquarius. We have the Swan joining Merlina. We have the Forgiveness card joining Athena. We have the Lady of the Lake in the Angel's Advice joining Rochelle. And we have Caressa and the Queen. Okay. This is how I want to put it. I think that the Emperor is really representing the brave and courageous energy of Mars, not the warrior energy, because look how he's very calm. But I also believe these red robes are not about fire. They're about your base chakra. What do you need at the core of your being in order to feel like the Emperor or Empress in your life? Because Merlina will talk about confusion, and then there's the Swan. And the Swan is about transforming your intuitive gifts. And I believe it's going from the ugly duckling to the swan. This feels like to me that something happens in the next week that rubs right up against Aquarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums that actually like gets in their face and says, are you going to transform the way you say you want to, or are you just going to talk about it? I'm not trying to be mean to Aquarius right now, but it feels like that's how it came. That's how they're showing it to me, because as you lovingly assert yourself, we see some sort of reconciliation come out of it, because there's the Forgiveness card. And here is Rochelle saying it's time for you to come from your heart and to have the self-respect to allow yourself to do that. Now it's going to come through a storm. Let me offer this too, because hold on, it's getting warm in here. Oh, that was a good move on my back. I want to offer it this way, because I think the Emperor also represents taking a bit of a leadership role for Aquarius in not leading others like, oh, look at me, I'm going to tell you what to do. More like, I'm going to be the leader for myself. Whatever you're telling me as a leader, or if you've been a leader in my life, or I need to transform beyond it, because whatever is on the outside is not giving you what you are really looking for. That's what Merlina is showing me. Now, as I lovingly assert myself, Spirit is saying your following your heart gives you a new sense of self-respect that actually allows you to start to receive the bounty and the experiences that you want to receive as you close one chapter and begin another. Oftentimes when we hear about the closing of a chapter, everybody sort of gets a little, but more times than not, the human is complaining about their life and they want to close that chapter and go on to this new fun thing. And the reason I say all this is Aquarius, your ruling planets, Saturn and Uranus, are creeping towards each other for that final square. So there's that breaking away of the old structures. There's the innovation of that Uranus offers. We see Merlina might even be bringing up through an argument of some kind, because I do think that there's arguments on foot. I think that we have to be super careful. Don't drive too fast, people. Don't be blowing down the street at 50 miles an hour in a 35, because a dog's going to run out in front of you, a little kid's going to run out in front of you. There's going to be things that you can't plan for, and everybody's going to feel an accelerated energy going on here. So as you are standing calmly and bravely, is what does Aquarius need for themselves? That's your gift to bring back to humanity. The allowing yourself to go from the ugly duckling to the swan, whether you had the answers or not, because you were just lovingly asserting yourself step by step to what your heart wants. And that's not always easy, because when you go into your heart, every single human on earth, not just Aquarius, you'll go into your heart chakra, and the first thing you'll do is think you want something, but in the back of your head, it will be based on how other people will perceive you having it. So when you identify that, then you can dig deeper to see, is this what I really want? Because this is an opportunity to really close a chapter that you didn't enjoy or weren't enjoying that much, and then sitting in much more ease of reception, much more flow. And no matter the stars, no matter the squares and the oppositions and Pluto this, Pluto that, and no matter what the TV tells me about this restriction or this da-da-da-da-da, I'm going to sit in my point of attraction. And I'm going to be aware of my point of attraction. And is my point of attraction taking me where I want to go? Or is it inadvertently taking me where I've been over and over and over again, which is where the pissed off part comes. which is where Mars gets in. So that's where I'm going with that. Okay. Let's go on to our Pisces. Is everybody understanding the order? Because we're not remotely done. We're going all the way to Cancer. I started with Leo today, and this is the new thing I'm doing so that everybody gets their turn to be first. I've always wanted the world to be much more fair. No, yeah, Pisces, right. Did I say Pisces? I hope so. Oh, and we have the Justice card. This is this is a very powerful card because I want to offer it this way. When I look at this as this idea of justice this particular week, and then I went and looked because Mars is going to be having this conversation with Uranus in the North Node for like 2 weeks before they get any distance away from them. And I think that's when I look at this card, I feel very much that the Supreme Court, the various governing bodies around the world will be the news, the media. This could be where we see unexpected things happening around the world. Now let's see how Pisces, what does this have to do with you? Because being a very sensitive and compassionate sign and having your ruling planet Neptune stationing at 25 degrees for like a month, maybe even longer. I think that's super important to pay attention to because that part of you will want to see things idealistically, you know? Thank you, DJ. All right, here we go. Pisces, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. What does the Justice card want you to know? Or where's the justice coming in? I should say. Crystal, have faith and hope. There's more on the horizon. Maya, schooling and education. Azure, your desired outcome is coming to fruition. And Layla, okay. I want to offer it this way. I kind of feel like some of this disruption may be viewed through the judicial system in some way. It could be personal, you know, for Pisces, you may be going through some personal lawsuit, but whatever the case may be, one of the things about the Justice cards is holding that sword up. The sword represents our thoughts. And when I was starting to learn the tarot, they would always talk about the swords being the strife and struggle. And as I started to allow Spirit to coach me in how I perceived the cards, they said that struggle and strife come from thought, which is why the swords always feel like they're very powerful, more powerful than any other of the court cards, because when you're aware of your thoughts, you may not be able to control them, but the awareness of them already starts to move the vibration into alignment with what you want versus where you've been. So let's see where we're going, Pisces. Have faith and hope in what? The judicial system, in the new beginning. So I want to offer it this way because we're seeing these, you know, I believe that R versus V is going to, RVW, is absolutely going to be rectified. Can I give you the timing of it? No, because the Pluto return on the United States is awesomely long. But there's also other things that people are having concerns about, like gay marriage, okay? I want to offer anybody out there who's in a gay marriage, as you stand in complete faith that your marriage isn't going anywhere. Your point of attraction is part of a whole point of attraction that we get to start having faith in what we can't see, but what we intend. And that's how we will win any sort of war. We don't need to get weapons. We don't need to throw rocks. We get to have an intention beyond what we see, because Pisces is being offered an unstable new beginning, and it is all based on your intuitive body in trusting a bigger, fair picture of what will happen and aligning your thoughts to that dynamic. And this is what I want to say too, because when I talk about aligning your thoughts, and I'm having so much struggle aligning my thoughts lately, it's like, Spirit, my intention is to sit in balance, but I'm in a wobble right now. So will you hold space for me? These are the kind of things, because I don't want to think of the universe as, if I'm not perfect, I won't get what I want. And if I'm not perfect with my thought, I won't manifest the things I want. That's not how it works. It works. There's a vulnerability in every situation that we want to experience that feels good. And as we recognize our wobble and we don't judge ourselves, we're like, hey, man, human people are trained to wobble. They're not trained to trust. They're not trained to be just for themselves. Because you're going to learn, Pisces is going to learn about protection. And the protection comes from your connection to spirit and how much you focus in on that. Because again, there's an attraction. We see Maya, the energy of schooling and education, and the protection card. And the protection card is a 38, which reduces down to an 11. And the justice card is an 11 or a 10. No, it's not a 10. It's an 11. Told you I can't think. Azure says your desired outcome will happen in the near future. And then there's the connection to the angelic realm. It's also integrity. So as you go, you know what? I'm going to just take care of me right now. I'm going to put my intention out there. And this is the one thing I want to say about Pisces. You kind of rule ancestors, you rule the point before, or, as we go back into the collective and leave the physical. So there's a part of you that's naturally predisposed to understand what you can't see, to trust what you can't see, and now know that it's working for you. It's working for you in a just way, because as you spend time with spirit and intending for your experience, then the magic will happen. And I really want, I've seen this ripple effect of RVW in other areas that we feel that we have become more accepting. And I feel as if everybody who sits in that energy of you can't take this away from me. You can't, the toothpaste out of the tube, dude. You can't put the toothpaste back in. It's not going to happen. And then you hold that line in whatever genre it is. Because again, we're talking this week, your personal lives, expect the unexpected, wacky, kooky stuff to happen that I can't even begin to describe it. And for whatever's happening with Pisces is going to be something that feels like it's on the inside versus the outside. When I look at crystals saying have faith and hope, and then there's a new beginning coming, and there's a protection as you learn about your thoughts. And I want to offer the justice card being, if you've been declaring you want something and you've been a little intimidated about making a change to make that happen, then this is part of what the justice is. So the divine disruption will actually lead you to what you want. And your job is to stay in integrity with your own desires and wants, and then stay very close to spirit if you wobble. Okay. All righty. Let's go on to our Aries, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. When I think of Jupiter and Chiron going through Aries right now, I feel like it's really a wound about beliefs and an opportunity to decide if what we've been believing, not judging it, but just are our beliefs evolving with all the other things around us that are evolving? When I was born, the phone didn't even have push buttons. Okay. It was a rotary. And it was called like State 9571 was our phone number. Do any of you remember when they used to refer to the first few digits as a word? Lucy Rose, no, you do not. Do you remember that? Oh, no. You were saying yes to somebody else. Okay. Well, anyway, so I want to offer it this way, because the idea of this conjunction with your ruling planet Mars being all anxiety and, next to Uranus, and then the North Node going, give it to me now. Plaza. Okay, Shelly. I remember that's in the old movies too. Were you born in the East Coast? Joe, yeah, Joe, remember? It's so funny how I remember my childhood phone numbers, my dress. Oh, Aries, what's your tarot card? There it is. Victory over thought. So because I want to offer it this way. This is the infusion of thought. It is razor focused, and there is victory and bounty that comes that way. Okay, let's look and see where we're going to have victory. Oh, Shelley, you're from Texas. Okay. I always think the movies Plaza, I always think of New York for some reason. Okay, here we go. When I grew up with the 213 area code in LA too. That was the only area code there ever was until like the 80s or 90s. I can't remember. And they started changing them all up. All right, Aries, where are we going to focus your thought this week? Xana's the angel of protection. Rochelle's the angel of my heart. Athena is saying to lovingly assert yourself. And Serena is about money. Straight up abundance. Uh-oh, you gave your phone number out there. 8575. Wait. 8675-309. Did I get that right? Okay, Aries. We have Xana being joined by the fire fairy, Rochelle being joined by the hawk, Athena being joined by the swan, and Serena being joined by fear. This is very interesting for me because I got to tell you, this feels very personal. Yes, Tommy Two-Tone. Okay. I want to offer this because Mars is very action oriented. We know that Mars will jump before it leap before it looks in some respects. And I believe that Mars is transforming. I am a fan of the hero. I'm a fan of the brave one. I'm a fan of the pioneer. I'm a fan of the one who's willing to take action. So now when I take action, I get to start to be creative and positive in my action, knowing that now I'm representing a bigger picture. Mars is a leadership sign. I think, strong leadership as it co-rules with Leo. And I say that because I think of Leo as the king and then Mars as the general, that gets the king's orders and goes and does what he needs to do. So this time, Aries is being given orders by the king to be aware of your thoughts. This is why when I see Mars and Saturn together, oftentimes with some of my friends, I'll see them totally locked up and unable to move forward. But for those that have been paying attention and really intending on creating their lives, we'll see that Saturn and Mars work well together because Saturn slows Mars down and makes him a strategic warrior. It's one thing to go into battle, but where are my resources? If we don't have enough hydration, if the horses aren't watered, we won't survive. So we want to be smart because this is where I'm going with this. In our personal lives, now as Aries, have the thought that you will be victorious. Check in. Spirit is protecting you because you are a bit of a leader and a hero to others. And it's time for you to stand in that energy for yourself. Because here's Rochelle, as you honor and follow the guidance of your heart, prosperity is coming to you. And now this is the hawk and there's the 11. This is how you'll see the signs and the omens as you pay attention to your thoughts. Your thoughts will start to produce evidence that everything is starting to shift. And you lovingly asserting yourself will give you a new reputation in your own mind, not the mind of others. We don't care about anyone else right now because this is going from the ugly duckling to the swan. And it's also trusting an intuitive part of yourself as you slow down, Aries, to lovingly assert yourself. This is why I said, Saturn, I like this combination because I'm really feeling Saturn is saying, look, I've been a father for a long time. Father time, get it? And I've learned a thing or two. And my younger children are being benefited by what I learned when I ruined my older children. Because here is Serena and there's the fear card. And what I believe, while I like the idea that this is money, I also think it's about serenity. It's about being able to understand that I am protected and that as I focus in on the idea that I'm being protected, then fear turns into something different. Face everything and rise. And if there is a sign that's willing to face everything and rise, it is Aries. So Aries in its highest vibration not only recognizes that they are a co-creator, they're recognizing where their thoughts are serving them. and they're purporting the energy that serves the manifestation they want to have. So I think that this is actually pretty good. I got to tell you guys that my mind is so fragile lately, and I don't know if it's because the South Node is heading towards Mercury, but any given day, I think I'm just going to be pushing a shopping cart, and I've never felt like that before. I've never had that weird little boogeyman in my head. So when I, as an Aries rising, look at this, I really kind of have to say, you know what? I'm walking through an environment that is riddled with fear. It's riddled with uncertainty, and what we believed was solid has turned liquid. And so now, if I look outside myself, I might give into that fear. But if I look inside myself and I really believe the things that I teach, Teri, and I do believe them, but I'm also a human that doesn't know, because of the way she was raised, if she's always deserving or going to get. And so this is where the serenity part comes in. Serenity with my fears allows me to face them and rise above them. That's where I'm going. On to our Tauruses. Boy, if you have anything at, let's say, 15 to 25 degrees Taurus in the next 2 weeks, batten down the hatches, expect the unexpected, and it could all be good stuff too. It doesn't have to be bad. You could get on Big Brother. Well, not this season, but you get on next season. Who knows? Depends on what you're trying to do. Taurus, rising moon, sun, and oh, I love this. Look, we have the Four of Wands. This is celebration, home and hearth, enjoyment. Let's see what we're going to be enjoying. Because this is the other thing, while we look at this conjunction, again, the North Node represents the point in our chart where our soul is stretching to experience something. It isn't used to it. It's something that would be new and exciting. And so when we add Uranus, revolution, liberation, and Mars in the party, right? Then this could be really fabulous. It doesn't have to be a shit show, although with unconscious parties involved, it could be a huge shit show. Okay, victory. Omega is our first angel for Taurus. Bridget is our second. The third is Sonia. And the final is Merlina. All right. Omega is being joined by the dog. Bridget is being joined by the goblin. Sonia is being joined by the by the novice, by the unstable new beginning. And Merlina is being joined by the cat. This is interesting to me because when I look at this, I feel as if Omega and the dog are in this foundational position. That's victory, and there's sincerity and love and loyalty here with the dog. Now we go into Bridget and the ego. And Bridget is saying to look deeper. And then the human ego, it's interesting to me because if I didn't know better, I would think some of you might have individualized yourself as Tauruses, and you may be going back and forth about, having done that. And let me put it this way, because with Sonia and the unstable new beginning, something for Taurus is going to be brand new and unsure. And it doesn't have to be something physical. It could be something emotional, because Uranus rules the nervous system. So anything you get nervous about would be something that is in your emotional body. So you have an opportunity, Taurus, to feel happy, home, hearth, and celebration. You are sitting in a place of victory. But I think this may have more to do with being loyal to yourself than it is to being loyal to the outside world. And Taurus is a very loyal sign. When it loves something and it will not abandon it. And I know that because I'm a Taurus moon. So now I think this might be a little bit also where Taurus is like, but it hasn't happened yet. I don't feel it. Oh my God. Because I think this is about looking deeper into where your ego might be saying one story, and Spirit is trying to say, we're working on your behalf. Now it's time to start trusting. You got to know we're here for you. That's what Sonia represents. And oftentimes our manifestations, they start with our thoughts, but then we baton pass them to spirit, where spirit conspires to bring people together in order to facilitate that experience. Because Merlina, to me, I'm not sure if I think it's confusion right now. Is I think that there's an opportunity for you to individualize and have healthy boundaries that actually bring more. I want to put it this way. For Taurus is another fixed sign, okay? So as you're walking through this axis, node, south node, north node axis, going through the sign of your sun, your moon, your ascendant, I think this is about really digging deep into being loyal to yourself, standing on the platform that if there is a disruption, that disruption is actually aligning me more succinctly to what I want to be. And my job in some respects is during the confusion to have healthy boundaries so that spirit doesn't, or not, shouldn't say spirit, so that you don't get derailed by another human getting in your way. Okay, let me give an example of what I mean there. So you're excited about something, you're about to do something. Let's say you were going to buy a new house, okay? Or you're thinking about buying a new home and you want to do it, and you've been studying the laws of attraction and spirituality and astrology, and everything in your chart says, oh, this is a good time to do this. But the real estate market says it's not a good time to do it. So you decide to trust yourself. You're not going to let your ego get in the way. You're going to trust spirit. You're going to do something different. And then you go and you tell someone and they totally instill, how are you going to do that? Oh my God, look at this, look at that. Oftentimes, inadvertently, we go stretching for somebody who will be opposing us because we ourselves need to work out our own decision about what we're manifesting. So I hope I'm making sense right now, but I think for Taurus, rising moon, sun, and stelliums, this week may be a little nutty. You may feel a little bit like your ego is bruised if some expect the unexpected blows up, which something might. And again, it could be something that you are just minding your own business and something comes across your path. It's an opportunity for you to really look deeper into how you've ever edged God out in your life. And oftentimes when God or source energy shows up, it's through, if you have been wanting to make more money, rarely will the boss that doesn't give you a raise suddenly become someone different. So what happens is spirit brings you a job opportunity that will give you more abundance, but that job opportunity may not be as dependable from the human's perception. So you'll have to, as the human, depend on spirit to make the leap of faith, not only in them, but on yourself. And Taurus can get you a little sketchy because you rule money and you're like, I don't know, will the money be there? But I think that this is really about pushing the indecision away, giving yourself an independent thought process that says, you know what, if I can dream it, I can live it. If I can think it, I can be it. And my job is to just be patient with myself as I wobble all over my personal natal chart in fear and listen to the news. So overall for Taurus, I think that this next couple of weeks may be a little bit, as Kathy Hilton would say, hunky-dory. But I don't know if it's going to be so hunky-dory. Yes. All right. Let's go on to our Geminis. Because, sometimes when like, I don't know, all of a sudden I started to think for Taurus, sometimes being authentic isn't easy because people have expectations of us and we don't want to let them down. So we try to hint around at something. And then by the time we let it out, it comes out in frustration. So I think maybe, I love that, Lucy Rose. I never heard that before. Let others voluntarily evolve. That would be a great mantra for this next few weeks. All right, Gemini. Ooh, the world. This is really beautiful because this is a reward card. This is Saturn's reward, actually, as the Fool has endured the whole hero's journey through the major arcana. And while there is still a sense of vulnerability, there's a mastery involved here. So let's see. Let's see, Gemini. It's a good one, Lucy. It's a real good one. All right. Our first angel for our Geminis is Merlina. The second is Xana. The third is Isaiah. And the final is Azure. Merlina is being joined by the novice. Xana's being joined by the wasp. Isaiah's being joined by the birth and rebirth card, and Azure's being joined by the water fairy. Okay, I want to offer this for my Geminis. This is an interesting spread because I feel like there is a little bit of a nonsense before the reveal of the good stuff. Because when I look at Merlina, which represents confusion, I also believe that she represents magic. And I couldn't help but notice the rabbit that's right here in the corner, right? And I felt like that was sort of like Harvey, like magical rabbit. And then I have this novice, and I want to offer it this way because with the world card, Saturn is the planet associated with that card, and Saturn rules time and rules effort and hard work and effort. Saturn likes you to work hard, likes you to pick your lane and then do your job in it, because right now I think that you may be reaching a boiling point or a point of I can't take it anymore. That's what the wasp and the protection card comes from. And then Isaiah and the rebirth card is the angel's advice. So I want to offer it this way because Gemini, if for some reason you are finding yourself really frustrated and wanting a new beginning within your everyday life, and I'm not thinking love life, I'm thinking professional life or whatever you do to create resources, that if for some reason you find out something distasteful or unpleasant has happened in the work environment, this may actually end up leading you to a more favorable place when you don't necessarily show up the way they expect you to. Because I kind of feel like this is the wasp and protection. So you're going to be protected from anger. You're going to be protected from resentment or from jealousy. And as you show up in sort of this rebirthed way where I feel like you're like, I'm vulnerable to the idea of being kind, to sort of what Lucy used, that acronym for love. I'm going to have to go back and scroll through and see what it was again. But I liked let others something evolve. What was it, Lucy? Because in the final position is Azure, saying your desired outcome will happen in the near future. And there's the emotional water fairy. And I feel like that this is really part of what something's going to crack, something's going to wobble or shift, or somebody's going to freak out and have a moment. And your wherewithal in that moment could actually bring you reward. And it doesn't mean you have to back down your opinion. It doesn't mean that you have to give up your voice. It feels more as if you're holding yourself together when somebody else is losing their shit. And it sounds like, whoever's managing the group is going to be really pleased as punch that you didn't add to the nonsense, but you distracted or diffused it. So I want to offer, and this could be, it feels like some sort of group setting or group dynamic. So it could be a family, within a family situation, a work situation, I guess it could be a friend situation or a teammate situation as well. But it feels like it's more than one. It doesn't feel like it's a one-on-one argument. It feels like it has more to do with a frustration that's been building. And then the conjunction happens and somebody loses their mind and they have no idea why. But you, Gemini, don't lose your mind. And I think that's why Saturn will reward you. So if Saturn is indeed your boss, then you being vulnerable, not to defending yourself, but holding your position. Azure says your desired outcome will happen in the near future. Have patience and faith and don't force it. Well, I'll tell you, I've started to think about pissing me off if I want to go there, because At this point, the stars with Pluto squaring my Mars, if I get really angry, my mouth like breaks out in blisters. Can't even believe it. And I really attribute it to my vibration, because when I was young, I was spewing crap and mad all the time, and my body never reacted weird. And now it reacts weird all the time to lower vibrations. All right, let's go to our final sign, Cancer. And here we see Father Time the Hermit. We do call him Father Time because it's about reflection. This also, in the tarot and astrology book, the Hermit can represent the Virgo energy. So for Cancer, there could be something to do with an illumination or some time of taking time and reflecting, taking time for yourself as well. And I want to offer this too, because as I looked at it, I couldn't help but notice the wooden staff that he's holding. And this may be a moment where you actually get, have some sort of enlightenment that you should ask others for help if you need it. Let's see. Yeah. Well, sometimes in the heat of the moment, it's hard to choose battles. We can become reactionary to things. And that's the thing that this retrograde Pluto has kind of helped me, because as I go back and forth, I feel like, okay, here's your first chance to fix it. Oh, I didn't know. My second chance to fix it. Oh, I kind of knew. And then third chance is like either Pluto's going to kill you or you're going to fix it. All right, Cancer. Our first angel is Astera. Reach for the stars with your dreams and desires. Indriel, the light worker. Patience. And Vanessa. All righty. The hermit crab. Oh my God, Lucy, you did not just say that. I didn't see that. And then I'm looking down and I started to see the hermit crab. Oh, great minds think alike, simpatico. That's so funny. All right. Astera is being joined by the Focus card. Okay. Indriel is being joined by the Death card. Patience is being joined by the King. And Vanessa is being joined by the Deer. All right. So this is what I want to say for my Cancers. I absolutely think that this is about reflection and reflection on your focus and how much are you going and looking into the history of where you've been. Because I really think that the Hermit is asking me to reflect on where I've been so I can illuminate where I want to go. Okay. So now, how much do you focus on your dreams? Are you nurturing yourself as much as you're nurturing everyone else? I had a gal here the other day and she said, I'm a bleeding heart. And I said, honey, bleeding hearts die, pumping hearts live, and they help others. So I want to offer it this way, because Cancer, I know you're such a nurturer to, whatever, even if you're a single person, you'll be a nurturing neighbor, you'll be a kind and caring person. You just roll that way. But I want to offer it this way, because when I see the Death card, I feel like it's time to transform into the light worker. It's time to let you really see that when you focus on the stars with your dreams and desires, you're actually providing an invitation for others to chase their dreams. And because the shadow side of Cancer is that you love other people so much that they can feel a little bit as if they're the object of your affection, and there's a dutiful energy that gets exchanged there. Because patience is an opportunity to study my own behavior and assess it, which is also what the Hermit is talking about. And then there's the King. And the King talks about justice. The King talks about things pertaining to male sexual energy and authority. It could be kind of considered Martian in some ways in this stance, because Vanessa in the final position says, are you going to make your decisions based on faith or fear? And then the Deer is here asking you to have gentleness and diplomacy as you start to write a new story. So let me offer it this way, because the Cancer energy, my experience sometimes is Cancer will say, I want you to feel loved. I want you to feel loved. But what they're inadvertently missing is that I want to feel loved. I want to feel loved. So when I love you and I do nice things for you, or I nurture you, I feel a love exchange between us. And sometimes, without realizing it, you're kind of inadvertently saying, do you get it? Because Cancer will be like, if you love me, you'll know what I need. If you really love me, you will be paying attention to the subtleties of me. And while that is true, we also need to disclose some of those subtleties in a more overt way, and then nurture them within ourselves so that others know to piggyback that. Oh, Stephen, I would imagine. I mean, we're all experiencing that conjunction somewhere. For me, it's in my second house. And I don't even know what to say. I'm kind of just going to keep my eyes on I don't even know I can't even begin to think how that will affect me. It's not quite hitting any of my personal planets in a direct way, but it is hanging out at the end of Taurus. I don't have any planets in Gemini, so we'll see. I kind of expect to see it play out for me in the media a little bit more. I kind of expect to see that conjunction bringing up some things that make people want to pound the pavement with their signs and their opinions. So it's important for us all to be very intentional. And I want to offer this too. In closing, we go through these transits every week, and to me it's like a weather forecast. If we were going out on the ocean, we need to know whether we're heading into stormy seas or whether we are heading into calm waters. But wherever we're heading, the landscape isn't going to change. It's our ability to adapt and be flexible, and where will we focus? Because if we're focused on the wall of water coming at us, we will surely drown. But if we're like focused on the idea of, I'm a good swimmer or I'm a good surfer, I can go under this, I can get around this, I got a boogie board. I don't know, I'm running off with the metaphors here today, but overall, I think it's most important to be gentle with yourself, be focused. Don't take on any wars that you don't have a passion for. And if you do have a passion for it, I'd like you to consider being the peaceful warrior and how you could purport that. So that you can have your voice in general, you can express yourself and not feel oppressed, I guess is the word I want to use. Okay, guys, that's it for me this week. I was going to try to keep this broadcast short. Of course, I didn't do it. But it did make me feel better to sit here with you guys and rock back and forth. So thank you so much for being patient with me. And if for some reason I don't show up by 11:10 or so on a Sunday morning, go to the community page and look and see if I put a note up for you. Again, this was unexpected, but totally self-created, I think, now that I've contemplated it for the last 9 days of no sleep, because it gets so bad at night, it's not even funny. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Please like, please share, please subscribe, please tell your friends, and I'll see you next Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific time. Everybody have a great week.